Good morning, Tartaria, Australia, and Autodidactic. I love my little singy little intros. How you going, buddy? What's been happening?
Oh, lots. Lots actually, lots going on behind the scenes. I'm feeling like I'm waking up a bit. I felt like I've been, especially over the weekend, and I could hardly get out of bed, but which has kind of been the last few weeks, really. So I think I'm starting to get a bit better. Yeah.
Get the
Energy
vibe back
rising.
on. Yeah, same, man. I have been in the shits this week. Like, I have been doing my own head in hardcore. And I think I'm in the process of moving, as you know, and this is my third move in 3 months. And it's just like some repetitive crap, man, that I'm like, it's so uninspiring on the level of just repetitive actions in cleaning and packing, but amazing to like have a new adventure sort of starting to form, and you know, the pathway starting to become clear, although obviously it feels a bit insecure because, you know, I'll be couch surfing now for a little while with my family, which is cool. But it's been hectic. Yeah. It's been a hectic week. And that actually, I was wondering if everyone was feeling that way. Like, it's been a pretty traumatizing 2 years. Not that I want to start on that note.
No. And when we just had the eclipse Monday or Sunday in Australia, apparently it's overcast, so there wasn't that much good footage of it. But that was, you know, energies. I don't know a lot about all that astrology stuff, but, you know, people tell me that it was strong energies and change and all this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, and the other thing about moving, which I found a lot, and I'm still there, like, it just unsettles your brain, doesn't it? You're not, you know, like when you're settled and you've got like your room with your stuff and your energy and your space, you can kind of sit down and create. But when it's not there, you sit down and it's so hard to get centered and to get focused.
Yeah, it is. But also, like, on the flip side, it's a kickstart to a new adventure, and it kicks you out of all your habits and all your groundhog time loops that we all get trapped in.
Yeah, being a very good errand.
Yeah. So, all right, buddy, I'm just going to change views so we're on together. I have been like led on this crazy little journey in the last 12 hours, and I wanted to run you through it and how it like arrived smack bang into the middle of Tartaria. So, you want to bear with me for a few minutes again?
Sure. Let's do another deep dive with Kelly's brain.
That was my brain. This one isn't as like theorizing about Tartaria so much, but it is a direct commentary on our community and who we sit within the Tartarian realm and why we're all here, which I know you and I allude to a lot. You know, we're always kind of like thinking, you know, but now what, guys? Like, now that we've sort of like got to this point and this level, like, where does it lead us, and what actions does it inspire us, and what's the whole freaking point of all of this? How is it going to like impact our reality, if you like?
Yes.
So I'm just going to speak frankly and honestly. So basically, for the last 5 years, I have been in the shit in my head. Like, I have been dealing with a constant tug of war, basically. And it's like constantly been like, I mean, in this routine of working like 9 to 5, repetitive work. And even though it was a foundation that I founded, it's become repetitive. And, you know, I'm a very creative person, Campbell. I mean, I don't want to do things twice, basically. In my ideal realm, I don't want to do things twice. I want to just keep evolving things and seeing where my imagination takes me, you know. So I was acknowledging this time loop that we talked about with the 2 Sun episodes, you know, this movement that we're all sort of like trapped in day and night, 9 to 5, working, sleeping, eating, working, sleeping, eating, this time loop, this, you know, time off on the weekend, Friday to Monday, you're working hardcore, you know, like that slog that we're all trapped in.
Yeah.
And I acknowledge that it's a slog that we're all trapped in. And so this is what I started to want to like tune into last night, actually. And I asked the question, you know, if I was to imagine my most amazing career, like my most amazing idea of what I could do with my time, what would it be? Now, you know how I feel about the imagination, right? I fucking love it. Like it's the whole key to this whole Tartarian trip we're on.
It's the only nation to be in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm sitting thinking, I'm going to bring all the variables of things that I love together in my life and just reimagine what it could possibly be, and not get caught up on or trip out on, how can I afford to make a living? How can I afford to do all this shit? Like, actually, let's just reimagine it without any external variables. There's good exercise for you guys too. Good exercise here. So I sat down. I went, okay, what's on my favorite variables? So hello, Tartaria's number one. Can't help it. That's my truth. I love this shit. I'm in for the long run. I'm a Tartarian hunter, full stop. Number one. Number two, I love speaking. Number three, I love nature. We all know that. Nature's a big part of my life. I love the imagination. And I love community. They're like my three. They're all my things packaged together. So I started to think, what has been the consistent theme in my life for the last 5 years? It's like done my head in. And like just tuning into it without like trying to get into my shadow work, just what's the most obvious thing? Like without like big deep dive, and you know what the most obvious thing was? Isolation. Isolation. And I thought to myself, yeah, man, for the last year on my farm, I was in isolation. It's isolated anyway. Then I moved to Daylesford and I didn't know anyone, so that was isolating. And then COVID hit and we all got locked up. So I was in the forest for a year by myself in isolation. And then I moved to Melbourne to look after my friend and all the mandates hit. So all avenues to socialize, connect, join groups, all that was over. So 5 year slog in isolation. And then it dawned on me, Campbell, that isolation is a fucking dream killer. It's a dream killer. Why is it a dream killer? Because we need people to make our dreams come true. Like people are the variable.
Yeah. There's a quote. I think the dude was called Charlie Tremendous Jones. And
really? It's so family.
but that's what he said, right? Like you better get to like people, because no matter what you want to do, you're going to need people. Like nothing gets done down here without people.
Yeah, you need people. Absolutely. So if we look at like our community, like the facts are team, tribe, people, friends of ours. If we have found ourselves in Tartarian consciousness, which you all have, like we've got here because we've basically been asking questions for probably our whole lives, like on and off, would consider ourselves truth seekers, would consider ourselves interested in figuring out what this crazy thing is called Earth. And that has kept us essentially isolated, because you get labeled as a nut job or a conspiracy theorist, or like, you get labeled as a fringe dweller. You literally become a fringe dweller. And your whole connection with support and people does tend to be smaller. You tend to have less people in your life, less community around you, less support. A lot of the times you're just left with your own thoughts and maybe a few friends online. And that has been a really similar story for, I think, everyone in this connected to this community. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, definitely. We all tend to, at least not have friends, but more than that, we all tend to sort of like our own space as well. We're not the people, we don't want to go out to parties every Friday and Saturday night and meaningless talk and get drunk.
That's true.
We'd rather sit down and talk or read a book, so.
That's true. We do tend to want time to think. We want time to watch things that help us think more. We do love that time. But what happens ultimately, I think, is that a lot of us spend too much time alone. And as a result, we get caught in our own fucking heads. And as a result, we create obstacles to our dreams. We do. And we start telling a story. We start telling stories to our brain. And then we start to like create these obstacles and we start to really get into them. And then our dreams feel impossible. And then we feel sort of even more isolated or more hopeless. And then we just end up in a tug of war in our brains, basically. And as a result, the irony is that the Tartarian community has shrunk small. Like we've been kept basically small because we've spent way too much time in our stories. And this is like a side effect of spending way too much time by yourself, right? The thing with Tartaria is that we're studying a gigantic civilization. giants of renown, the giants of old, giant everything, grand, beautiful, and we would attest that we are somehow connected to that we, whether it's our incarnation or our DNA or our consciousness, but we can say we have related to and have come from this race of giants. So Tartarian hunters, I started thinking, how do we as a community start to shed this smallness that we've like found ourselves in and start to rise really tall again, really gigantic again? And so here I am thinking, okay, if isolation is a dream killer and we all have these amazing, and let's face it, guys, you out there have some weird, fucking interesting dreams, like impossible dreams that are so weird and unique and quirky and like secret to yourself. Odd things, man. Like our community has so many amazing oddities of dreams out there, combinations of things that would seem impossible for them to experience or create, you know? And I thought, but what if our community was invited to come together to not so much like deep dive more into Tartaria, although that's a natural course of coming together, obviously. Hello, we better help ourselves. But like, imagine if we came together to help each other make our impossible dreams true. So like the human being, if you give them a problem, they're problem solvers, right? We're problem solvers. Yeah. Like if someone says, my dream is to write a book, but my obstacle or my problem is that I don't have the time and space to focus on writing the book. And we said that to a large enough group, then guaranteed somewhere in that group, someone put their hand up and says, hey, you know, my aunt runs writers' retreats. You could totally go on that. Or I have a cabin out in the woods. Like you could totally borrow that for a couple of months, you know, or I want to work at an elephant refuge in Africa. And what's the obstacle? I don't have enough money. Or I don't know how, all the obstacles, no money, no property, no, I don't know how to do any of that, you know, and presented that to the problem solving community there to support each other manifesting their dreams. Then guaranteed somewhere in that audience, because synchronicity and alignment happens when you're following your vibration and your joy, which is what Tartaria does for all of us. So by default, we're already gathered with that sort of foundational energy of bliss and joy and curiosity and ease and happiness and all that shit, right? Mm. So when we come together, synchronicities will happen no matter what. And I guarantee there'll be someone in the audience that has a pathway to help you become elephant refuge, friggin' community worker, whatever it is you want to do, right? Whatever it is. And here's what's so cool about this and how it links to Tartaria. Tartaria, Campbell, is we have achieved with this consciousness the most impossible dream that could ever fucking happen and ascend onto the planet. Like, hello, this Tartaria work is the ultimate impossible dream. Like, could you imagine 20 years ago, Campbell, like we'd be standing here today saying to you, fact, fairy tales are real. Fact, giants are real and you come for them. Fact, your cities are going to totally transform in your imagination in front of your eyes. You know, let's like just work with me here. List all the things that have like made Tartaria an impossible dream coming true. Like your number one would be star forts. Hello.
Yeah, free energy.
Free energy.
Literally 10, 20 years ago, you're a lunatic if you actually believed it was real. Now we know it's real, right?
Yep. Free energy.
So, and all the spires, the architecture, but just the hidden in plain sight stuff, right? Just looking at the world differently, going, what? I'm walking through an old world city, right? We didn't think that 10 years ago.
No way. We were told at school that everything had been discovered. There was nothing left to explore. Yeah. That everything, that here's the history, here's who built this. This is everything. Fact, you're just here now working to stay alive. Mm. Everything's done.
yeah, like the Truman Show.
Like the Truman Show.
I want to be an explorer. Sorry, yep. Truman, that we've already found everything.
Exactly, everything done. You know, and hello, suddenly we stand here in 2022 And we realize that this realm is this big, and all around
And
this
then
realm.
the extra land. I mean, how's that one? That was a really, and then that's just grown so quickly. And that's what the thing is, you know, these concepts, the ones that resonate with people are the ones that grow quickly, right? So it's a consciousness. And yeah, I mean, imagine in the 80s going, oh, there's more land. Like where? Oh, it's outside Antarctica. Where the fuck is that?
Exactly. And we were given tools like Google Earth, which was a great deception. Like, here's your Earth, go and zoom in. This is everything that's possibly out there, full stop. And suddenly today we stand here knowing that there's not only continents and worlds and realms past ours, totally unexplored by us, completely brand new. We also have been like potentially made understood that the moon has a fucking map on it. Like,
yes.
Is this not like a choose your own adventure novel? Do you remember those from when you were a kid?
Yeah. Pre-video games, right? They were the first video games, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's, you know, it's like you said before, you know, now we know that the fairy tales were real. I mean, this is starting to turn into like a fairy tale story. You got like all this stuff that's coming up and coming out, and you know, like, you know, resets are real, right? Plasma, you know, in the sky is real. You know, all these, you know, history's been rewritten. It's just, yeah, like we literally, it's becoming more like we used to be in the story.
Yeah.
And now we can see the story.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know if I want to play this character anymore.
Like, hello, I had no idea there were so many castles around the world. Like, I did not know until Tartaria and focusing in on it, that there's hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands, would you say? I don't even know.
Oh, there'd be tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
There's 4 on one street in Perth.
Whoa, man.
Well, it's and the thing is, yeah, we used to think they were all squares, apart from that one white one that we all saw in Switzerland on the rock, and it's like, oh, that's amazing. But now we find that they're everywhere. Like there's castles bigger and better than that one, and they're pitched on, you know, mountainsides and
amazing,
you know, on the coastlines, just places where you wouldn't build a structure that big. And yeah.
So we basically we live in a realm. We live in a realm full of castles. Like literally there are castles everywhere. That is like totally fairy tale Camelot. This was not in the Disney cartoons. No one ever gathered all that information in front of our eyes to show us, because we were never looking. So now we've looked and we've discovered that we actually do live in Camelot, and it's basically everywhere. And then in Star Forts, what the fuck?
Star Forts are just ridiculous. I was just thinking the word castle, right? Like it's mostly cast. Cast L. Yeah. I don't know, you know, all these words, you know. So I wonder what they were actually called back in the day, because we know they weren't called castles. We know Star Forts weren't called Star Forts, you know. And then I don't know if you saw, I did a show with Bernie, and we found there's this wall that goes all the way across the Ukraine and Russia. And it's just dotted with Star Forts, and it's bigger than the Great Wall of China. It's massive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's not in any history book. It's nowhere. You can't find out who built the forts or anything. And some of them are literally just imprints, like under like a wheat field. You see a wheat field, and then underneath there's this perfect Star Fort.
That's amazing.
Bizarre.
See, that's an impossible dream. Like, these are things we're discovering every day that like we had no idea about, and no one ever told us about. And until we start asking the right questions and looking for that right information, we never discovered. So suddenly, if we were to literally take everything we knew about history, throw it out the window, and just drew a map of the Earth based on our information right now, it would be flat, it would be expansive, there would be more continents, it would be covered in castles and Star Forts. You know, there'd be all sorts of things going on. And what about the giant trees? Hello, an impossible dream. Suddenly we've realized that the mountains are stumps of giant trees. What?
Yeah, impossible, because they show us only in sci-fi, right? Things that aren't real, like Star Wars and Avatar.
Yes.
You know, it's just in a distant galaxy far away. But really, it's in our past. It's part of this, you know, where we came from.
Exactly. And then we took on the board that the trees with the mountains are giant trees, the oceans are giant quarries, the volcanoes potentially are giant mulch pits. That our landscape is basically the remains of giant buildings and civilization. Like there's very little natural inverted commas landscape out there that's just like has nothing to do with some form of degraded construction of a building or civilization.
It's bizarre. Like when you think about and look at like what we call forests, they're really just the unkept bits, right? That's like the unkept garden where some of the animals got to survive, and it's like a weed pit, I guess, where everything can grow in together, and that's the best we've got.
Yep.
Because like same again in Russia, there's massive, like thousands of kilometers of man-made like forests, and they don't tell you who planted them, but they're all in perfect lines.
Yep.
And of course, there's no animals in. These are dead forests, right? These are just so. Yeah, it's all been created. It's like the bits that we think are the pristine ones, they're literally the bits they haven't got to cleaning up yet.
Yeah, exactly. And then what else happened to everyone? The earth changed shape. We literally went through an earth change event. Hello. Like if you hadn't clicked into flat earth before Tartaria, you are definitely there now. And it's like, who would have thought 10 years ago you'd be standing here going, oh my God, our earth is flat and expansive.
Maybe more land out there. And I mean, that's because everything starts, all these stories from the World War II and people, out on the fringes, shall we say, they make a lot more sense now, don't they? The new view of the earth, that doesn't make sense at all if they're going down to the bottom, of a ball. What for? Like what? They just want to take over an ice cube. Yeah, great plan, guys. Yeah, woohoo. Place to launch a world attack from.
And what an impossibility that the earth could actually be a different shape than what we've been told. And then, like, how about our cities transforming in front of our eyes? How about now we walk through the cities and we see a completely new civilization that built them, and it had nothing to do with us. Like we didn't build these cities. Like everyone can state here with Tartaria that like everyone has had the experience now of walking through whatever city's close to them and being blown away. Now looking at these amazing, gigantic structures that suddenly they pop out, like they're luminescent wherever you walk past them. It's like highlighted to us wherever we go because our eyes have changed. An impossible dream.
Yeah, all these rallies, for the last 2 years, they come on and I'm just sitting there looking at all the buildings. Just going, whoa, man. So, I mean, at the same time, it's all being exposed, with what's going on. Like, it's all starting to come in because I can guarantee you there are other people who've never heard of Tartaria looking at these videos going, there's some awesome buildings there. That's a really big obelisk,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting out there. We're starting to infiltrate,
Churches, Campbell. Churches. Yeah. Hello. What an impossible outcome that suddenly churches aren't churches.
Oh God, they're actually for the power of God. That's just what is God, right?
What is God? What is God?
Yeah.
I mean, our whole concept of reality has turned into an impossible dream. Giants, like they were part of the fairy tales.
I remember making videos probably 10, maybe just over 10 years ago, not that long ago, and like questioning, are giants real? And just then it was like literally, if even questioning it, it was like, you're a bit of a loony dude. Now we've got the skeletons of photos, we've got the buildings, and now you put giants in a video and everyone's onto it. Everyone wants to know about giants. Everyone's like, giants. No. It's airships, travel.
Airships. The amazing airships. Hello, I have longed as a child to be in a pirate ship through the sky. Yeah. Like I have had so many dreams of that, and it's always just ended up in the cartoons, And now we're looking at actual like reality of that.
Yeah. And how many stories are there of floating cities and all this stuff going up in the air? And now when we're in the air, we're not allowed to see it, right?
Yep.
you get this tiny little window that's bloody convex, and you know, you just can't see anything. They fly too high, you can't see anything too quick. But in the day, it was like an experience. It was like going on like ship cruises used to be. You know, you'd have an experience, and you'd go and have, you know, dine every night and go out to the veranda and all this kind of stuff, you know.
Amazing.
Steampunk.
Yeah, they've literally we were taught that the only way to fly was in these like very enclosed, encased like aeroplanes that went to a certain altitude, and that was it. You're on Earth or you're at that altitude. But like in the Tartarian consciousness, as you have just said, like they traveled using the air as we would travel on a boat, like very at ease with being able to interact with it and go outside and be up in the air. And this is like a beautiful part of their civilization.
And of course, they had no job to get back to, so they could enjoy it, right?
Oh, thank God, that's right.
It's not like, oh my God, we're off. We've been held up by an hour, and everyone starts yelling. It's like, oh, great! I get to stay up here another hour or another day. You know, they just enjoy the journey, and they take that whole time thing out. You know, which goes back to the two suns we were talking about. You know, where they introduce time and days, and you know, once they start chunking it all up, and obligation as well. Right? Once you've got to be somewhere at a certain time, and you've got to exchange your life so you can live. I mean, how's that for an oxymoron?
Yep.
Then everything starts to lose value because you can't enjoy the ride. You can't stop and smell the roses, right?
Yes, exactly. And you don't notice things anymore. So you stop being the observer. You're just you give over your observer to the rat race, I guess. So you don't even think to ask questions or even see these things. So which has isolated our community, because most of our time in the evenings is spent like in this sort of vibe, you know, not socializing. So that in itself has become an impossible dream, that we are playing witness to a civilization only a little time ago, another part of the impossible dream. We've just lost 1,000 years of our timeline. That's another time has changed completely.
Exactly. The past is so much closer. That's a massive one, right?
Massive.
Always like the past is all these megaliths, you know, 10,000 years ago and all this kind of stuff. And and then they try and build in, you know, Neanderthals were bigger, and you know, things, you know, they kind of try and build their story into it. But now when it's 200 years ago, or you know, maybe even less, it's hang on, and that also lets us know that, you know, this was a deliberate change, right? Things don't change like that naturally. Like
Absolutely.
So it brings out everything, right? You know, that we're being controlled and blah blah blah, and the language, the spelling. You know, all these, there's just so many little different parts to this, because it's like you call it a lot, it's Tartarian consciousness, right? It's much more about the way that we start seeing the world and the way we start thinking and processing than talking about, you know, arches and domes on buildings. It's much bigger than that.
It's so much bigger. And it's literally representing, it's an achievement of the coming together of the most impossible dream. That we could be talking about a civilization only a few hundred years ago, where we came from, that built our realm the way that it stands today, that had free energy, that were completely unified and civilized, and were producing beauty and high frequency outcomes, that like represented a culture that wasn't in this time loop. They weren't in the time loop, whether that's because they had two suns, they weren't introduced to the day-night friggin' time loop. They weren't controlled by that need to like survive, to have money to survive. They didn't have that mechanism. That this civilization, it was only a little way behind us. There's a little way to go, you know, that everything about what we've been taught about how we got here, that this all makes sense, how we got here, that this is the natural evolution of the human race, and this is all the accumulated effort of all our evolution, has completely transformed. Again, another impossible dream. Like, how much is it our highest dream that we are all like completely in our true, authentic, highest vibration, and we can interact and create and enjoy and observe and express in a state where we're not enslaved, number one, in a state where we're not forced into giving up all our time and energy for money, number two, and that if we don't have money, we die. You know, like we were told that's just the way we got ourselves here. We did that.
Yeah.
We evolved that way.
Yeah.
And here it is, and it can never change. Forevermore, you're going to need a government. Forevermore, you're going to have to need a government. You're going to have to go and vote. I argue with Tui about this because, you know, she's just like, it's important that you vote because we need to usher in these new awesome parties. And I'm just like, there's no way I'm voting ever.
Yeah. What's that? Voting for what is it? Remember, but like voting second for evil is still voting for evil. I got that completely wrong, but voting for the lesser evil. Is still voting for evil. So this is the thing. If we know that all of government is corrupt, why would you vote for either party? Because all you're doing is you're saying, well, they're a bit better. And, you know, we're being hammered, you know, by ads at the moment.
Yep.
And what I've noticed is the ones I hear, none of them are saying what they're going to do.
No.
Every single ad is the other parties suck, so vote for us.
Yep.
Like, what?
It's true. It's true. And look, I'm not bashing the good efforts of the candidates that want to be there to transform the system and to protect people's sovereignty and rights. But it's an irony because, you know, like as long as you voluntarily like support that system in any capacity, then you're voluntarily giving away your sovereignty. Like I am not, don't know about you, Campbell, but I'm not a naughty child that needs governing. I am not a scallywag that needs someone to take care of every decision I make and manage me. I don't need that.
No.
You know, and
didn't ask for it, don't want it. I'm not letters on a piece of paper. And this is the thing, you know, if someone came out and said, vote for me, and when I get in power, I will, you know, like take apart the government and disassemble it, I'd vote for it, right? Because that's the only reason I'd ever want to get in power is so I could take the whole system apart. I mean, in the end, we need something, but we don't need people who are telling us what to do. That it should be, it's people we tell what to do, which is what government's supposed to be. But it should be, we need a road here, sort it out, go build the road. Like that's what government's supposed to be. They got no place telling us about. I mean, they've got no place controlling the money system.
How to run our business.
How to run our businesses, where we can go, right? All this kind of stuff. You know, if we're allowed to, you know, pass a port, you know, you need that little card.
Ridiculous.
Dumb. Yeah. Like somehow it's reverted. Right? Yeah. It's supposed to work for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm supporting a voluntary system. That's what I'm supporting. That's the civilization I want to live in. And like, I am not going to give my weight or my signature or name to a system that has got to go because it's not going to be destroyed from within itself. No. As long as we're voluntarily doing what we're told to do and going to vote, it'll never, ever change. We are the ones that get to change that by saying no. But of course, everyone freaks out because then you cop a fine and that keeps going and then you lose your car license. What a load of shit.
They tried to find me before and I just wrote back a letter and just said, can you just send me the papers that prove the government of Australia is the de jure government of this country? And they left me alone.
Well, Campbell, I think we should make that letter available in the link here because I think it's this weekend and I think everyone will be like, okay, cool. As long as, like, it'd be good for everyone to have that sort of next step for when they get the fine. Because, you know, it actually goes from the electoral committee to the revenue office.
Yeah. So. Exactly. And that's also kind of a good thing as well, because once it goes to a debt collector, you don't have a contract with a debt collector. You don't owe the debt collector any money. So you literally, again, you write them a letter and say, oh, that's fine, I'll pay it. Just show the contract, my wet signature, I have a contract. And they don't have it, so they have to go, oh, well, bye-bye, Mr. Fine. And this is it. We just need to know what everything's, you know, it's not that hard. We just need to know. It's like you said, we don't need anyone ruling us. So if someone's trying to tell you what to do, you just need to know in yourself, no, I don't need someone to tell me that I've been naughty, so I need to give them money because I didn't go down and fill out their stupid piece of paper. That's ridiculous. And if you stand in that power, then that's all you need.
Yep.
No, don't back. And if the more that do it, you know, obviously the bigger problem that is that they have, you know, the more they're going to let it go. And then, because we're never going to stop everyone voting, but the bigger the majority, then the more of an issue it becomes, right? People start saying, why aren't people voting? And it becomes a topic and a conversation will open.
Except that they'll never announce that people aren't voting. They'll never put that out there. Like they're not going to ever like. And the independents who get 1 million trillion votes will never get in. Like it's a self-sustaining evil system that's never going to change. You are going to get a Liberal or Labor government, full stop, and this is going to be the same shit. So like, anyway, but the point is with this conversation is that Tartaria has changed all of that for us. Even that we have transformed an impossible dream, that this state of voting and government and rulership is this big compared to where we've come from, you know, in the timeline.
Yeah. And just the free energy, being able to, you know, just the knowledge that we can create free energy. I mean, that's so freeing, right? It literally frees us from their power. We don't need to rely on them for their grid and all this kind of stuff. And then as we go along, we can set up our own networks again. We can get back to analog, right? We can set up some analog radio and TV and internet and have our own, you know, like literally once we've got power, then that was their main hold. And that's what they stole, right? That's what they cut off. And then it's like, well, we can, there's a nice warm house here with lights. All you got to do is work 12 hours a day and it's yours. So what now that we've got that back, that's a massive game changer.
Absolutely. An impossible game changer. Impossible, because up until Tartaria, everyone just thought of new energy or free energy as a Tesla thing, literally Elon dumbass Musk thing. And that, like, in order to have that free energy thing, you have to spend $100,000 on a car. And we're all waiting for Elon Musk to roll out whatever, you know, like crappy technology he's stolen from somewhere. And like, but it was still unobtainable. It wasn't a thing anyone could imagine becoming like a fact. But with Tartaria, again, the impossible has happened. It's become a full-on evidence without question fact.
And there's people, you know, we all know about the water car, and that was almost like a legend, wasn't it? You know, it was, was that real? Oh no, that was, you know, and everyone would be like, no, that was not real. But now there's people literally out there driving around in water cars, HHC like converters in them. And that's the thing, you know, they try and give us electric cars, and it's like, this is our solution. Get an electric car and go and charge it up from a power station that burns coal. But the truth is, we can just buy an old car, rip out a few bits and chuck in a hydrogen converter and just drive that baby on water for free.
I know. And, you know, Tartaria is amazing because, again, it's brought out the inventor in all of us. It's brought out the creator in all of us. We suddenly realized, hang on a minute, we were part of the most extraordinary civilization that's like built this place. You know,
we're the creators.
Yes.
You know, they kind of give us this, you know, this is a car. It has to have 4 wheels and 4 doors and look like this. And it has to come from Ford or Mazda or Chrysler. And I remember seeing this doco when I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15. And it was about this dude, and his job was, he was just like one of these crazy engineers. And he would just build custom cars for people. They'd come in, I want a car that does this. And he'd just build these amazing cars. And I remember seeing that, and then I just realized, you can actually just build your own car. You don't have to go to Ford and buy something premium. We can actually go and create our own. And that was, you know, a big thing. And when you hit, it's so simple and so little, right? Like, but that's how indoctrinated we are. We don't even think that we can go and create our own stuff. You know, a washing machine's got to be a white square with a hole in the, you know, all these. It doesn't. You know, there's washing machines that use sound. To clean clothes. So
cool.
And this is where we've got to go, is because the more we do this, it's breaking shackles, right? You know, like one is power, you know, smash that one. One is cars, you know, and fuel, smash that one. You know, what's the next one?
Houses. Hello, houses.
Exactly. Housing, food, education. And we've got all the answers. We just need to get out there and start putting it all into implementing it all.
Well, like the car's an excellent example, because you walk through the city and it's just like the same color, mainly white, the same shape. They're just all like this, the same. When you look at the Tartaria stuff, they're amazing. They're like Hobbit car. They're like Harry Potter castles on wheels. They're They've got like
And all
things,
individuals.
oh my God, all individual. They've got fireplaces and lounge rooms and like little landings over here, and incredible.
Imagine if one of your years in school, like when you turned 18, you know, you've done all your engineering and that, and it's like now you're 18. Now this year you build your car.
Amazing.
Your vehicle, right?
Amazing.
I mean, and that's
amazing.
That mean imagine looking out and every single vehicle was unique.
Just how beautiful would our roads look? How exciting when all the new materials and colors and shapes and designs, and everyone would basically get them running completely for free, you know, and there'd be homes as well as cars and places to socialize and sleep. And I mean, amazing. I mean, I've just seen the most amazing.
We're told you can't do that because safety, right? Oh, no, you can't do that because you'll just make a car that goes and kills yourself.
Exactly.
Why would anyone do that?
Exactly.
They're going to be the safest things in the world. If someone builds a car and they're like, I'm taking my family around in this, they're going to make sure that thing is the safest car out
because
there.
you're self-responsible. Exactly. You're sovereign. And
that's
hello.
a good thing, yeah.
I mean, in the video footage from the 1900s, the late 1800s, like the cars, the buses, the trains, the boat are just all incredible. The boats, everything. It's just like it's where steampunk came from. And it's so incredible and inspiring. And you think, hang on a minute, it was only 100 years. This is what it all looked like. How we got to here, and like, what does all this, like, how has it become so crap and shit and the same and just completely void of all creativity at, you know, like.
Exactly right. And now everything has to be like an SUV. Like, you know, we started off with sedans and they got the station wagons when everyone started having more kids, and they're like, oh, we can't put kids in the back, we need vans, right? Then it was minivans, now it's SUVs. But you look back in the past, in 1930 or 30s, Buckminster Fuller invented this car and it had 2 sets of seats, so it could carry like 10 people.
Yep.
It just looked like a normal car.
Yep.
And it could turn on like a dime. It literally could sit there and just do circles on the front wheels. But it never got produced because, you know, it didn't fit their plan that everyone needs their own car to drive to work and the nuclear family, all this kind of crap. So we've actually had all these inventions come out, they just get stopped. So imagine if none of them got stopped.
I know. Did you see the cool one where the video of the car and it had a 5th wheel at the back? And like the wheel comes down when you want it and allows you to spin in any direction or park in any way.
I think
it gives you this 5th wheel. Like just simple things like that.
Yeah. I think I've seen another one that same kind of concept, but it literally drives sideways.
Yeah.
So you just drive up next to your car park and push your button and wheels come down and you just go in sideways.
Amazing. Like, amazing. I
mean,
we've
got to put up with these reverse parkers.
I mean, I used to love the animation House Moving Castle. I don't know if you saw that, but it was just basically about this castle transport that could move and walk, and you know, it was just like very cute, and it can change, like, you to go into different sort of portals and stuff. But like that would have been an impossible concept. It would have been a concept of fairy tales and animation. And yet here in Tartaria, we're looking at actual footage from the 1900s of these insane and incredible creations in cars. Like they're there, they've been there, and also gigantic cars, gigantic cars that has like 100 people sitting in them, sort of cars.
I saw one of those videos last week. Wow, I haven't done research, but they're huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
Is that Photoshop? What the hell's going on there? Massive cars.
Yep.
And they're everywhere. We've got swords, we've got everything, right? We've got all the stuff.
Yep, massive.
No kitchens and toilets.
Yeah, I mean, hello, no kitchens and toilets. So the cars are just one example of a millions of examples where Tartaria has actually achieved an impossible dream, an impossible like reconfiguration and transformation of what we're actually sitting on and what's around us and where we've come from. And it's profound and extraordinary. And whereas we would have, like 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, put that all down to the realm of fairy tales, animation, fantastical beast realms, we're sitting here saying, but actually this was what it was 80 years ago, 100 years ago. You know, this is actually your reality, you know, the moving pavements of Paris, all those things. And I mean, even the World Trade fairs. Like only recently has everyone started to even see them.
Yeah, I didn't know about them at all until, 6 years ago or so. At all. And the same
me
thing,
neither.
like, they were everywhere. We even had like 5 or 6 in Australia. I mean, everywhere. Don't get told about that. No.
Don't get taught about that at school. It's just absent. In fact, all of these topics that Tartaria brings to us, absent from school. Completely. We don't get taught any of that. So when we came across the World Trade information, wherever that was for everyone's journey, it was fucking mind-blowing. Hello, 8 buildings that were so extraordinary and so beyond anything we can imagine. And I like to actually see, downtown Chicago look like ancient Rome with these freaking golden statues and these amazing creations of, these amazing, what would you even call them? Cities?
Cities, yeah. I don't know, were they cities?
Yeah.
Machines? I think, no, they were definitely made for people to inhabit. So, yeah, that's the thing. And, I showed someone a picture of, I think it was St. Louis in an interview, and I'm like, oh, what do you think of that? Where do you think that is? And they're like, yeah, that's Venice. I'm like, no, that's St. Louis. And they were American. No one knows.
No.
People in St. Louis wouldn't know. There's a Parthenon, like an exact replica, right, of the Parthenon in Greece. There's one in America, the USA. Is it not Tennessee? Tennessee, in Tennessee, and they had a World's Fair there, right? And all there is this Parthenon in a park, and then you get the photos in the whole massive World's Fair.
Massive.
Canals.
Yeah, canals.
Another one, right? Rivers that are man-made canals. We didn't think that before, right?
No. We were told this is what nature is. This is what natural is, and this is what we made. This is the man-made stuff, and everything's transformed. Again with the World Trade Fairs, none of us had any idea about them. All the information's there. It just no one had any idea to go and find it and bring it together, bring it out in the open, right? Expose these great, reset camps.
Wonder who found it first. Imagine that, just researching, pictures of St. Louis in the 1800s, coming across that and just going, what the fuck? Mind blowing.
That would have been the same reaction I had to when we saw those drawings of Canberra, of Lake Burley Griffith.
Yeah. What? Is that real? What the hell is that?
My first one with the World Trade was the Gene Wilder documentary. It's really good. Yeah. He's just talking about it historically, but it's a fantastic overview of what was there.
And it's old enough that it's still got some truth in it. It's not complete, propaganda, but there's lots of them. And the World's Fairs are just fucking stupid. Then when we found out they were all just bulldozed, and then we found out they were supposed to be paper mache, and it's just like, come on, guys.
Crazy.
Everything's paper mache except for this building that is, 4 acres, and it's solid glass and iron.
Crazy. Crazy. But those World Trade Fairs and coming across that information, again, another impossible dream. Impossible to imagine, impossible that we didn't know about it, and yet here it is laying out in front of us.
And the resets, the recent resets that go along with that.
Yep.
So how are we going to fix this, Kelly?
Oh, well, wait, one more. Because I'm just really homing in the point that what we've achieved here as a community is we've actually achieved an absolute, the biggest, the greatest, impossible dream that's ever been. Seriously, there's nothing else we cannot, I shouldn't say that. Taking that back. What I'm going to say is that basically everything that we have discovered has transformed into the manifestation of an impossibility. And the last one I want to say is that, and because this is so fair and true for me as a truth seeker, Tartaria has been the first rabbit hole I've been down in fucking 25 years that is full of light and joy and beauty and imagination and inspiration, and it constantly overwhelming, impossible dreams, constantly dreams. Oh my God. JZK was talking this week on one of her videos about the fact that 90% of the truth seeking movement has been infiltrated and manipulated by the dark, right? 90%, which would then mean that 90% of the rabbit holes that we've all gone down are fucking dark and shit.
Yeah. And we know that. You know, the whole thing, it used to be a thing, right? When you wake up to this stuff, you know, you go through, you wake up and you go, oh, and then you just get depressed for like 3 months kind of thing. But you don't have to do that with Tartaria, because it's not bad. Like the worst we come across is the orphan trains. Oh shit, we all came from orphans, but you know, it's nothing like what, you know, you're a slave, we own you, we do this, we do that.
We're poisoning everything, we're raping everyone, we're doing all this horrible stuff. Here's black goo, here's this and this and this. You know, like I'm, you know, we all had to go through it because we had to wake up our consciousness. This is a part of it. We can't avoid. That is the shadow of the moon. That is the missing sun. The truth seeking movement is the black sun. We've had to go into it to see it and expose it. But
the light. Nice.
Yeah, except with Tartaria for the first time ever. I'm sorry, Campbell, but this is the biggest one for me because I had no idea that it would be an impossible outcome to me that I would find a rabbit hole so goddamn delightful, so full of innocence and imagination and fairy tales and all the most magical things I could possibly imagine. Everything my imagination basically is made of is Tartaria. It's how I dream. It's
the fairy tale.
It's a fairy tale.
It's everything that we learned and knew was real until we got to school and they beat it out of us and said, no, it's not real. How dare you use that imagination? Go kill your imaginary friend.
I could not imagine. See, I could not have imagined standing here today with such joy in my heart and such an invigorated, healthy, light-filled expression of the biggest deception that we've ever come across. And there's no dark, it's actually the opposing force to darkness. Like it's not full.
Agree. Yeah, it's got all, you know, it's everything, right? Like it's breathe better, eat better, drink better. Like it gets down into that. Like there's nothing negative really at all, you know. So yeah, and so many people comment on that, you know, people that have been down the rabbit holes and that, they're like, oh, I'm so glad I found you know, Tartaria, because it's fun, it's good, it's not, and I can show it to other people.
Yep.
Right? You don't want to go up to people and go, oh man, the world's run by, you know, those pedophiles and, you know, you're a slave and they're poisoning your food. You know, people don't want to hear that.
No.
People want to hear, oh my God, look what we used to do. Look what we can do again. Look, we live in a fairy tale. Wow.
I know. It's actually, it's brought back our innocence, Campbell. It's the first rabbit hole to not corrupt our innocence, but to enhance it, to not take it from us and go, oh my God, everyone in government is aligned with Satan. But instead it says, hey, you know what? Giants are totally real and they built your cities. Go and check it out. It's really funny. You know, it enhances the innocent. It enhances the imagination. It enhances the creativity. It enhances your words, your dialogue. You know, you're learning so many new uses of language. It enhances your intellect.
Yeah.
And it enhances your questions. And like on the To Someone or last week with Jeff, I was saying, you know, when you ask a really great question, which is what our community does, then you're on a quest. And one of the comments I got back from an amazing community member was quest I on.
Yeah.
Quest I on, which I hadn't even gone that far. I was just like quest, but quest I on. That's a question.
Yeah.
So,
indeed.
What rabbit hole sends you on a glorious Camelot-style adventure with a quest, you know? Like, it's like you go into those truth-seeking holes, but you do it sort of like you're holding onto your seat. You know you've got to see it, but it's going to be shit, but you've got to handle it. But, like, damn, it's just so messed up in there, you know?
And so convoluted too. They make it so hard too to get through the info, but but like that, and that's that's like you mentioned, that's the dark infiltrating. You know, it doesn't mean if 90% have been infiltrated, it doesn't mean that 90% are out there going, oh, we hate you, or we're going to, you know,
Oh no.
things. It just means that what they're teaching is a rabbit hole, and they're just being sort of, you know, it's not a conscious thing. And this is what we talk about, not passing the news around and keeping people in these rabbit holes, because that's all it does. And, you know, the dark energy. So, yeah, Tartaria is just the complete opposite. Just, you know, jump out and use your imagination, and we can do everything. And you know, what happens at the end of every fairy tale, right? The bad king or the wicked witch, they always die, right? And the people win.
And there's like some like awesome little party at the end. You know?
Little party, yeah, that's right. We already dance in the forest.
Where all the birds are talking to you.
Yeah. Exactly. And
I mean, I even love the whole stuff with the mythical creatures that are coming through. Like, hello, we've been taught that there's this like all mythical creatures are of the fairy tale realm, all in the movies, and then there's humans and then there's animals. You know, and there's nothing else out there. But like all this art and all these drawings and all these carvings of all sorts of wonderful, fantastic entities from that time period, you know, and they feel good to me, Campbell. Some feel definitely aligned with genetic modification, messed up, bit like satanic, but there's so many happy ones there.
Well, I think a lot of them, you know, were genetically created just like us, right?
Yeah.
Left alone, they're happy. And they were just, you know, like we said, they were just the less useful ones or whatever, right? The less programmable maybe. But yeah, this is the thing. And people don't go, you know, if we found one picture of that, then you could go, oh, that's someone's imagination. But when you find these pictures across a couple of hundred years, across different countries and cultures, and
on maps,
all the same pictures on maps, on everything.
Yeah.
Coincidences do not exist.
Yeah.
That way, right?
Yeah. And so if you look at those, and there you go, another impossible dream. You look at those that artwork, those drawings from all that time period across the realm, and it's incredible stuff. There's angels in the skies. There's rainbow bridges. There's mythical creatures everywhere. There's all sorts of lands and castles and realms. It's like it's Lord of the Rings on steroids.
Yeah, these maps literally are fairy tale maps, and they're like, no, the fairy tales don't exist. It's like, why are there dragons and sea creatures on every single map? Oh, well, and they're in the stories. Oh, they don't exist though. I think the cartographers were just way into fairy tales.
Yeah.
Making maps for their kids.
So, I mean, it's interesting with this whole realm because, I mean, have you come across much language? Much, like, has there been a dialect that you found? I've noted
words changing and things.
Yeah, like
we're definitely becoming more conscious about what the intention of word, you know, what the spelling is, spells.
Yeah.
Like there's people, you know, good morning. Obviously, morning is what you do when someone dies.
Yeah.
So I know some people are starting to say good rising or trying to find alternatives.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, person and people and all that, you know, how do we refer to ourselves? Because we don't want to refer to ourselves as, you know, corporate entities.
Yep.
So we're starting to think a lot more about what we say and about, you know, what the spell is, because we're starting to understand they are spells. I mean, how's that right? We all went through school. We all know what spelling is, but we didn't realize that it was spelling.
Essentially, we were at a witch's education. We were receiving a witch's education. Like we were being indoctrinated into spell making without being told we were doing it, and we were given spells in words. Yep.
And those spells give us a way to see the world. They're the framework of what we see.
Yep.
So because of that, there's a lot that we see that's not necessarily there, and a lot that is there that we don't see.
Yep.
Because unless we have reference points, it doesn't exist. It's like the Indians in South America and the ships coming over the ocean. They couldn't see them because they had no reference point in their brain for what is a ship. Absolutely.
Like exactly. Like we say this is a duck, you know, like this is a duck, but like we know a word, but this thing. So that the thing that is the word. The thing that exists is the word.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if we go to France and we're like, where are the ducks? they'd be, what the fuck's he talking about?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that thing, that's not a duck. That's whatever they call them, right?
And where is
Absolutely.
the duck? Where's the duck? Is the duck the beak? Is the duck the
Yeah,
wings? Is the
right.
duck the feet? Is the duck
Yeah.
the feathers? Like, where's the
It-
duck?
And that's the other thing. There's another, I do like my sayings. You know, it's like when a child first sees a bird, right? They just see this wondrous creature that can sing and can fly. But the first time they're told it's a bird, all they can see is a bird.
Yeah.
Because suddenly it's a thing, right? It's categorized and blah blah, and a bird has feathers and a beak, and it's not this. Because I mean, come on, you can get a budgie and you can get an eagle, and yeah, they're both birds, but they're not the same thing.
Yep. Yep. I mean, was it always called the sun, the moon?
Oh, soul, yeah.
I mean, like, what is the sun? You know, it's a word.
It's a word.
You know, what is
like we mentioned a few weeks ago, like sun, you know, SUNSON, right?
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So when a kid is sent to school, which is a system that is underpinned by witches, when a kid is sent to school, where we always send to school to be taught by witches spells and identify these things that they wanted us to focus on and give names to, these things that we have to give names to, and then that became, because it's a spell, a fucking goddamn reality.
Yeah. Mm.
So here we go. The impossible dream, number 204 of my list, is that Tartaria has like broken the spell. It's broken all the witch spells. All the spelling has been changed. It's broken the spells.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting, Campbell, because we don't find many words within this civilization. We don't find words scribed into the buildings. We don't see scribing. We don't find a language, a strong language that unites all these cultures and buildings and cities. Like, there's not all this language represented.
Mm.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's a lot more pictorial imagery, which, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I actually made a video, about a year and a half ago, I think, because I found this article saying, you know, some people don't have an internal dialogue. And I thought, well, fuck, that's really weird. What the hell? How do you, oh, God, these freaks. But then thinking about it, our internal dialogue, it's the program. It's the words that are constantly going. If we could think in pictures, because someone left me a comment and they're like, well, have you ever thought that if you thought in pictures, it would be a lot quicker? And I'm like, yeah, okay, they're onto something there.
Telepathic.
Yeah, exactly. Telepathic, you can just, it's more conceptual. You can get, you know, because it's like hieroglyphs, right? Like we're going back to hieroglyphs because now we have all these symbols, you know, like a blue square with a white F in it. Now that doesn't mean the word Facebook. That means a lot of stuff, right? You can show this little symbol and that it contains so much information. And that's why imagery and pictures are better. They can, you know, a picture, you know, is better than 1,000 words. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Well, when you're thinking in words, you've got to explain yourself, and it takes time to get it out. And it's
time loop. Time loop.
Yeah, exactly. So they were clearly much more pictorial based and more conceptual, and the good thing about that too is it's not so defined. It's not like someone says that's a car, it must have this, you know. It's like a concept. That's a vehicle, you know. Instead, it could have this. All it needs to do is move, you know. It doesn't have to look a certain way. So
exactly
leave the interpretation open a lot more.
Exactly. That's an excellent analogy, because if we say the word car to anyone on the street or any kid, they'll draw you a fucking car, which is what every car looks like. But if we say moving vehicle, it's open to interpretation. It's open to possibilities again. It's open to the imagination. The thing that these witches did at school, and look, I'm not saying that school teachers are witches, all right? Before anyone slams me, what I am saying is that the foundational purpose of education was developed by witches and sorcerers. And they knew, it's very Harry Potter. They knew what they were doing by giving us words and teaching us spelling. And they don't actually care about anything else. It's all about get the kids in It's illegal not to send your kids to school. Why? Because we need to teach them the right words, the right spelling. They need to know the words, because without those words, their realm is open to possibilities. So to like transform that process, one just has to take away the meaning of like car is the next example, but let's look at home, house. You know, what does every kid draw once they come out of school for a few years? Is a friggin' box.
Yeah, with a triangle. Yeah.
With a triangle on top. It's play school. You know, it's like that's the house. Yet here we are in Tartaria looking at houses like this all the time, floating in the sky.
and you just change the language. If you go up to a kid and say, well, don't draw your ultimate house, draw your ultimate abode or the ultimate place you want to live, then the imagination's open. You know, you're out of the box, right? Because that's what all this language is. It's a box.
Yep.
Just like the time and the space that we were talking about a few weeks ago, that's the box as well. It keeps us in that cycle, and then they give us the language, which is what we can see on the walls as we go round and round. And then we're stuck, right? And that becomes reality.
Yeah.
And so, Tartaria is like, well, hang on, what's that? Why is that building so big?
Yeah.
You sort of stop and you look and go, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
What's that star for? Oh, crap. Then you go, hang on, maybe this reality isn't what I thought it was.
And it gets more insipid as we grow older, these spellings, because then we learn words like success, failure. Then we learn words like good, bad, yes, no, can't, can. We learn words that basically become this like chatter, which leads me back to the very first point I made, in our minds, which is basically becomes your story, a story made up of your understanding, your accumulated version of spells onto yourself.
It is, yeah. I'm the exact same. Like, I'm constantly like, I want to do something. Okay, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to write books. I'm going to make videos. I'm going to do this. And then I sit down, I'm like, but I really just want to, just sit here and daydream a bit and just take it easy. And really it's, we're the creators. So, I should get there anyway, right? Into the same spot if I'm working my ass off or just dreaming it. So it's this big, and then you're like, oh crap, I haven't done anything. I better go from work. And it's this big dichotomy, which is the program, right? The program, no, you have to do this to get what you want.
Yep.
And so it's really trying to break out of that. And it takes a lot of work. You get longer periods where like, yes, I'm great. Oh, look at that. Look what I created today. Yay. And then it's like, oh, it's been a day. Shit, maybe I'll get back and do some work, And then it's like, what am I doing?
Yep. And it's like, and when it gets solidified, like that thought process, it actually becomes your obstacle. So like the obstacle suddenly for me would be something like, I just want to do Tartaria full time, but I have to make money. So I can't do that. I have to work in my 9-to-5 job. Or I actually want to write an amazing book. Campbell and I have some amazing ideas for books. We want to do this amazing one. I want to do this. So, and yet the obstacle would be like, well, Kelly, you're 44. You can't, like, you should have started this 20 years ago if it's going to do anything. Like you've tried a few things before and they have failed. I don't know if you've got the ability to do this. Like, you definitely don't have the resources. Do you have the time? Like, and then it gets even more insipid. It gets really personal where you're beating yourself up. Like, you're a loser, man. Like, who's going to listen to you? Like, you're fat and old now. Like, what have you got to offer the world? Whatever it fucking is. Like, we are all have this, like,
our worst enemies for sure.
And that is the result of these spells that we were taught as children to name and label everything as the thing.
Including people, and then that comes back to us. We're told, they're stupid, they're different, call them names, blah blah blah. And then of course once we're taught to do that, then all we're doing is just it's coming straight back at us every time we do it. And if it's not by a person, it's by ourselves, right, in our heads.
Exactly.
Because that's what we're taught, not to succeed. We're not taught when we're young what real success is, that's being happy. It's when we're much older and we're programmed so that we think success is material goods. And so Yeah, it's breaking out of the box, isn't it?
It really is.
Spell.
It really is, because like, and we are getting really versed and practiced within our reality with Tartaria. Like, you know, like you're actually seeing photographs of buildings being built that now we see those photographs as buildings being deconstructed. We're seeing buildings in the cities that we've walked past a million times, and suddenly we're looking at them like, oh my fucking God, that was a whole other civilization. I'm walking on the ground. I'm walking on the same pathway as one of these gigantic beings that built this civilization and lived here. I'm walking through RMIT University and seeing Camelot in front of my eyes and thinking, oh my God, you know, it was only 100, 200, 300 years that this civilization were here, right here on my footprints right now. Like that is a massive deconstruction of spells, like huge, right? So Campbell, this leads me right back to the beginning of this dialogue, which is, if Tartaria equates to achieving the most impossible dream we could ever imagine, and it's going to continue to do that, guys. That's the magic of Tartaria. It's not like we're not at the end of this. We're at the very beginning. Like, and it just keeps getting more and more marvelous, more and more magical, more and more revealing, more and more insanely amazing, more and more imaginative. Just like, what's left? What have you really, 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 as a child, would have loved to live in or seen or experience? Like, it's coming. It's coming. There was nothing in your dreams or imagination as a child or as an adult that wasn't a part of what was already here. So all of this magic still to be revealed. But here's the thing. Like, if we as a community have been practicing and experiencing and expressing like an impossible dream coming true daily, like it's happening all the time, the next reveal is even more amazing. As a community, we have failed big time. We're not, see, I've used a word, I've used a spell. All right, let's not use that spell. Let me transfer. We have not stepped in yet to our full potential of a community and help each other come together in physical beings, come together in support of each other, helping each other manifest our impossible dreams. So Campbell and I were going to hold an event the end of June here in Melbourne, right? We haven't released it yet because I have been umming and ahhing about like the fucking website and all that stuff, because like I'm bored of all that stuff, you know. I'm bored of it, and it just feels so beneath our work in Tartaria that I want to capture the spirit of this program, of our dynamic and our audience, right? So I haven't released it, but this is what I'm suggesting, Campbell, that we put a call out right now to our community, everyone here in our community watching this, that we come together as a community, as a tribe, right, to a venue, which is what we were planning to do, finding a venue, hopefully one of the town halls, something gorgeous and Tartarian-esque, and then come together. But instead of deep diving so much on Tartaria, which will happen naturally, we actually deep dive on each other. So, and here's my logic. Imagine now if we bring our audience together, all of you guys together, because all of you are in the same boat, we're on the same boat. We've got impossible dreams. We have dreams, individual dreams, but we've lacked the support, we've lacked the people to help us manifest our dreams. That's the truth. And until we manifest our dreams and that is a part of getting out of the time loop. That is an absolute main part of breaking that time loop spell, that you manifest your impossible dream, that you move into that higher vibrational energetic because you're achieving your impossible dream and you've had support to get there and you've had the help to get there and you're actually like in it, you're living it. Imagine the brand new amazing questions that would come out of our community. Imagine the shift in the frequency if we could all step into our impossible dreams. And of course, the wealth. That fucking, you know, abundance, the law of similarity, like attracts like. Okay, so imagine we come together, right? We break off into groups. And I mean, I'm thinking like 200 people here, you know. We come together, we break off into groups, and then we sit there and we clearly state our impossible dream. Nothing too big nor small, nothing out of the, nothing, all respect to everyone's dreams, whatever they are. like zero judgment from this community, whatever the dreams are, full respect. And then you state your obstacle. What is it that you're perceiving that's an obstacle to getting your dream? What is it? And then we all come back together and then we share very quickly our impossible dream and our obstacle. And we as a community commit in service to helping each other achieve that impossible dream. So if someone says, oh, I fucking, I've got this amazing idea, and like, I'm just so blocked because I just know nothing about building a website. And I feel like I need that because I've got to be upset about being online. It's a great product. But, I would be able to put my hand up and go, I can help you with that. I can help you build a website. Let me help you with that. I want to build my home, but I don't have any money. I don't have any land. I don't even know where to start. There are my obstacles. I'm a contractor. I could probably help you with that. I actually have a friend of mine who's got a friend who's actually looking for someone to caretake his land. I could help you with that. Like, I want to, again, the book example or whatever the hell. But it's just that human beings are by nature problem solvers. So if you present the dream and the problem, then we as a community will by naturally, without, as strangers naturally, like, want to participate in helping solve that problem. Now, if we help participate and not doing anything out of the ordinary, we're just connecting. My aunt would be able to help you with this. Well, I know my neighbor who does this and this and this would be able to help you with this. And, let me put a phone call in here. I think I could arrange you to meet and talk to this person who will help you with that dream, like, each one of us holds within ourselves a network of people, places, things, times, and events, as Ramtha would say, that would wire and fire with no effort from us, just like support another person in getting closer to that impossible dream. Now, if we as a community stood there in that space, holy fucking shit, like, oh my God, not only would we be coming together consciously to actually help manifest, because it's the missing piece right now. It's the missing piece. We are currently in a dreamed landscape right now. We are floating around in a dreamscape, and yet pretty much almost 100% of us have unrealized personal dreams that would make their heart soar and happy, and are caught up in their story, their obstacle. And because they're caught up in it, they're not achieving that abundance or that step out of the time loop or that freedom or whatever it is that's important to them. Like, and unless we come together as a community with this consciousness, like really with this consciousness committed to supporting each other through that process, we could move up as a whole community. We can move the frequency and vibration of our whole tribe up to the next level. And from that level, oh my God, the beautiful new questions, the beautiful new frequencies, the beautiful new unrevealings. It'd be like us taking full-on sovereign personal responsibility for our community to make it to the next level.
Yeah.
And the next level is to make manifest your impossible dream, whatever that is, because it's going to increase your frequency, your vibe up. We want us all to get there. Campbell and I can't do this without you guys. Hello, we'd just be two random strangers chatting it away like to ourselves. We might as well be on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
This Tartaria consciousness doesn't happen independently. It's a gathering of like-minded people. It's a gathering of a tribe. It's a coming together of a tribe. And until we take that responsibility to the next level, we may be all like tuned in and tapped in and switched on here and in the comments as we're talking. But if you extend that into how does this affect my life? How do I take this to the level where it's actually making my life thrive as well? Well, this is that next step.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we need to go without to go, right? We're always told to go within, but a lot of the time the answers are outside us, right? In
Absolutely.
other people. And I mean, imagine what could happen. Imagine that there's different people with similar. If someone wants to be a gardener and someone has got land and wants to do something with it, and someone else, wants to work on water. I mean, they can work together and form a business, right? So
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about. And we've been making it for a bit, right? We need to go out and create this new world. That's what our job is. We've got to get out there and solve all these issues, right? We're talking about all the power and all, cars and all this kind of stuff. So that's, I agree. That is what we're missing, is because it doesn't take, we're all programmed to think it takes money.
Yep.
And this is a big problem with goal setting, is people say, I just want money. Yeah, it's a spell. What do you want the money for? Oh, well, then I'd buy land. Well, what you want is land. You don't want money. Oh,
Exactly. Exactly. Ramsey used to teach that. He said, don't sit down and try to manifest money. You will never, ever, ever get it. You'll be saying to the universe, I don't have it. I never want it. Sit down and manifest the thing you want to experience. Sit down and manifest experience. Yeah. And that is a big fucking difference. And I've fallen into that trap over and over again. Like, oh my God, I'm enslaved to my job because I need the money. And and as a result of that thinking, I just like gave over my beautiful imagination. I just stopped applying my imagination. And as a result, I got more and more dependent on that wage every week. And yet here we stand in the most crazy imaginative space on the whole internet ever, ever, ever. And if we're not applying that, as we're not coming together as a community and applying our beautiful imaginations to problem solving each other's impossible dream, then we're wasting this amazing synergistic frequency that we've all found ourselves on, right? So it's really obvious to me, Cabot, I'm sorry, I'm speaking really quickly.
No.
Sorry. I was just, like, my last point, it's really obvious to me that when I sit here when these shows go live and I read the comments, like you guys don't know I'm there, but I'm reading all the comments, right? Because I love seeing where your minds are at. I'm reading those comments, and what is so obvious to me about those comments is our community has answers and resources and information and intelligence and creativity and generosity and amazing wiring and firing that if we just came together in person and actually just expressed in our truth what our personal possible, we would be able to solve things so synergistically, so in alignment, so possible. You guys would be flipping out. Hello. We know what impossible looks like. Our solutions will just blow our brains, will blow our minds. It'll blow our minds what people can, contribute in that space.
Yeah, I agree. And, we can get something like that up on our website too, some of the projects that we're working on and what we need. And the truth is, I've had, so many amazing people contact me and with things they're doing and help me out and that, but there's probably, I've probably only seen about 10 or 20 mistakes. I can't even get to my emails, so we've all got these little issues, but if we all come together, we can actually turn this into a machine, into a movement, right, that works, because we're all kind of got our ideas, we're all doing our little bits, but we're not coming together, so it's not a cohesive, machine. Right? It's running. It's kind of all these little bits on their own.
Exactly. And like what we marvel about with Tartaria is, and our conversation about the crystal cities, is this coming together of energy. And it's like all these little bits, all of our individual parts, our individual components of information come together to form this whole story, right? This whole idea. And, our community is so into that. Like we present the crystal cities, or the other week, the Two Suns theory. And everyone's just like, whoa, here's all my bits. And everyone brought in so much awesome stuff. And it's just like, wow, imagine if we took it to the next level where we're actually dealing with each other's secret bits, the bits you don't talk about, AKA your secret impossible dream, the stuff you think is silly or foolish or just totally unobtainable and completely impossible, those dreams, because that's the soul of you guys. That's the soul of what is your gift from God. Those impossible are your gifts. So why would we not, as a community, say, nah, that's it. We intend to consciously support and commit to seeing through each other's individual gifts, to bring it out, to expose it out into the light. And we do that. And we stop just forming ideas after that. After that, we form a civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the best way to be an anarchist, man. It's like you want to take the system down, you don't have to run out there and yell and tell everyone how much you hate it and how much it sucks. You just need to do something that builds a new system, right? And then just watch them collapse. I mean, this is, again, the big thing is by putting us in a place where we're pretty much embarrassed, right, to tell our dreams, that they never come to fruition.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can you imagine if everyone was creating their ultimate dreams? Completely uncontrollable, like populace. There's no way you could control those people, right?
I know, and this isn't about positivity. This isn't about personal development. This is not in that space. What this is about is understanding that you've got an obstacle that's come from a story, which has come from spells that you put onto yourself. And it's understanding that people are natural problem solvers. And if you bring people together to help you solve your problem, your dream will come true. That's what it's saying. So this is about a community stepping forward and saying, okay, fucking yes, time for my dream to come true. I need that support. I need to get out of my story. I am ready for this. I'm ready for this. And my God, can you imagine how moving, amazing, magical, unbelievable, unbelievably impossible the outcome of these sorts of events would be? We spent a whole day together on this sort of space. By the end of the day, we would have literally watched hundreds of miracles happen in tiny little ways, just like flood through that space, that community. And I mean,
and
like
a lot of the time it's just advice. Someone might say something and someone says, what about this? And it's like, ooh,
yeah,
you know, the heavens open. It's like, whoa, and then off they go.
Exactly. I mean, we're in the business of miracles here. Tartaria is the business for miracles. We are chicken soup for the soul. This is what Tartaria is.
The Tartarian soup for the soul.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this space is all about. So I want to extend to Campbell, and we haven't even talked about this, but this is what I want to extend as the event. I want to extend the dream. I want it to be called Tartaria, achieving the impossible dream. I want to extend that as an invitation for anyone who wants to come and experiment with this idea, that wants to come and gather and actually to with Campbell and I, under the banner and foundation of everything we know about Tartaria, and actually achieve your impossible dream. That's what I want us to do in our events. That's what I want us to do with the community. That's how I want our community to be and to feel.
Well, we keep saying we're the creators and we can do whatever we want. We can create a new world. I mean, we've got to do it, right? Or else we just become hypocrites and talkers like everyone else. And it's time, right? We've all been sitting on our ass for way too long. And a lot of that is believing, you know, that we can't get out and do something because there's all these restrictions and what will people say and the government are stopping me. We've got to get over that stuff and go with the government.
Yeah.
What they don't have any control over us. We're humans, right? We get to do what we want.
Yeah.
You know, this is our realm. So yeah, let's get out. Leave us your comments, guys. What do you think about that? Are you into having a day? And you know, do you want an event and a day, or do you want that instead of a day? Or just let us know what your comments on that are, because ultimately that's what this is all about. You know, there's a lot of, you know, people talking Tartaria and that, but you know, we want to take it further. We you know, we love the buildings and all the stuff, but we want to create, you know, recreate the new, you know, recreate it, right? That's our driving force. So yeah, let's do it.
We're the fucking Aussies in the house here. We are going to lead the world with this consciousness. This is not something that we're not looking at buildings anymore. Hello, we're finding crystal cities, and we are moving our whole energetic being, because when we are living our personal impossible dream, like, hello, all of your heart explodes, your generosity explodes, your resources explode, your desire to be able to contribute in all sorts of ways explode. Like, we have to get each other sovereign out of this time loop. And if we don't do it together, we don't move together as a community.
And it's support, right? Just knowing that you've got support is massive. That alone, you know, people create miracles just because they know that people have got their back, you know. So that's
exactly.
And we know we're all separated. A lot of people are out there and they don't feel like they've got people to talk to and all this. So, you know, our strength really is in you know, our group.
Coming together as a group and as much as possible in person. And I think I really honestly believe that we as a community coming together in this way will actually become the leading force that governs the revealing of the Tartarian information. I really feel like we will somehow something will happen to the frequency band. We'll get that one step closer to the Crystal City concept, and actually turning the service back onto ourselves, onto our community, onto our tribe. So, I just think it's a miraculous concept. And I think, we've got to try it. The date set was the 25th of June here in Melbourne. There is a link under this video right now, because I have quickly rushed away and built it in between this moment and you watching this.
Gets released,
there's a link under here. Just fucking book in. That's it. All we're going to need is a ticket price for the venue and just book in, because After that, the work is done. You've done the very first thing. And I can tell you one thing. If you're sitting here saying, well, it sounds nice, but I don't think I have a dream. I don't know what my dream is. My problem is I don't know what my dream is. Like, then that's perfect, because we've all gone through isolation of the last 2 years, no matter where you are in the world. That isolation has killed your dreams. It's a friggin' dream killer. And it's not just COVID quarantine isolation. It's just in general being isolated from people, because people are what solve your dreams. So come gather as a tribe, 100, 200, 300 of us together. 500 to do this work would blow the roof off the town hall we're in. And I swear to God, after that moment, something magical will be revealed with Tartaria.
Well, then everyone can go out and create their own smaller groups in their own,
Exactly.
like smaller areas. But
Yep.
I was thinking before is, we've all got this vision, right, of this new earth that is much better than what we've got now, and all these, these amazing things. That's got to start somewhere. That there actually has to be the first, whatever, community, city, whatever. There has to be a first one.
It has to be first.
So why not us, right? Why don't we build the first one, and then it'll keep growing, right? And it'll take over. Like, it has to start somewhere.
Yes.
But it just doesn't appear,
Yes, and it doesn't happen just as an event, like we're just going to come together and listen to speakers on Tartaria. We don't need that. That's not your block. You don't have an obstacle there. Hello. You get to do this 24/7 online whenever you want. It's not an obstacle to hear more speakers. The obstacle is achieving your dream and having unblocking that obstacle and that spell you've got on side of you, that spell on you. Unblocking that brilliant gift from God, that brilliant light that floods through you. That's your block. That's our block.
Yeah. We've got to bring back the light, right? The second sun. And this is what it's all about.
The second sun.
And if we're not doing something and we're not actually changing our experience, well, we're just like every other rabbit hole, right? We're just sort of turning the dirt and spinning our wheels. So let's get out there and do something. Let's be that group that we all want to see. We're all sitting there waiting for someone to do something. Well, let's make it us.
Let's make it us.
Let's do it.
Let's shine as bright as two suns. Let's come together and shine brightly by us removing all our obstacles and stepping powerfully into our dreams and supporting each other and holding each other in support, like in community. Like Campbell is so right. That is how a civilization makes manifest. That's how a new consciousness comes down, because it literally matters. Our thoughts literally matter. They matter. They create matter.
For a statement.
Yeah.
Matter. Our thoughts matter. Our thoughts make matter.
They do. We literally make them. They matter. They literally matter. So if you guys are suffering in your own Maya, caught up in your own story, like, this is the event for you. If you want to come and do it with Campbell and I and just like have this experience, this is the event for you. And let's just call it a friggin' impossible, I don't know. Tartaria, the impossible dream.
Conquering the impossible dream.
Achieving the impossible dream.
That's even better.
But it's not going to just be lofty and out there and just like this random consciousness. We're going to do it for each of us, each individual soul. That's the ones that are gathering and bringing their consciousness to it. Yep. We are what matters. We as energies are what matters.
Yep. We are the meek. We are here to inherit the earth. So let's do it. So let us know, guys. There'll be a link. Let us know, if you're in Melbourne. Obviously now we are going to, the plan is to do this, to go around the country, do it in every state.
Yeah.
So, don't fret, you won't miss out. We'll get that to everyone. Even country, if you're in a country region and there's enough people there and you can, let us know and we can organize something.
I will come.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be
I will come to any event that you guys want. Yes, we will come, man. Like this, I am acknowledging now. And now that Campbell, you've heard the whole concept, like we would together be acknowledging that the most important part of this Tartarian consciousness is to help each other become the greatest balls of light possible. And to do that, we need to take an action to connecting to each other in physical form. So I would say, like, this one in Melbourne on the 25th of June is going to be the first one, probably the most crazy one, probably the most made up one, probably the most innovative. I would say make every effort to get to this one, because after this, we're kind of going to know how it all works and what happens. But this is going to be unknown. It's going to be completely wild and unknown, man. Well, and feel like it's going to be more of a party than anything else.
Yeah, and that's what it's got to be. We don't want to, you know, we're on the screen, but we don't want to be the captains of the ship. Whatever, you know, event it is, it's got to be something that everyone wants. You know, that's what we want to do. We don't want to say, this is our event, come and listen to us. You know, if you want some speeches and then some chatting, we can do that. If you want, you know, whatever, right? And I guess we'll work that out on the day. You know, we'll have a bit of a format, of course, and we'll have things going on. It won't be just turn up and see what happens. But let us know, what are you interested in? You know, what would you, you know, do you want us to do a talk for the first, you know, few hours and then we can do other stuff, or do you want, you know, whatever? We've also thrown around the idea of doing a walk, you know, the next day, doing a walk and talk and going and seeing all the buildings. So
in Melbourne.
Yeah, in Melbourne, right? In Gotham City. So, you know, let us know, because that's pretty much where we are. Is, you know, we're like all of you. We don't want to struggle. We want to do what we enjoy doing, and we don't want to have to worry about, you know, where the rent or the food's coming from. So together we can all get there. So, you know, let us know. Let's just start building something, and we'll do our best to give the best experience for everyone, and we'll just start from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I just see it as a big support group gathering. Like, you know, what do you do at support groups? Like, you eat biscuits and drink tea and confess your thing and show your block, and then everyone helps you sort it out. And that's sort of what I've got in my head. So yes to speeches, yes to fun, yes to music, yes to all that stuff. But to me, it's absolutely about creating the supportive mechanisms to achieve your personal impossible dreams. No holds barred.
Just meeting people, like, yeah, you wouldn't, but like, you know, we all talk to people, we all see the chat. Everyone's amazing. Like, there's so many amazing people, but we need to get to know these people, right? And find where they live and exchange phone numbers and emails and start plans and really build a community, because we're still kind of just an online community. We need to be more. I mean, imagine if every state in Australia, and of course, you know, we love all the international people too, but we're just sort of focusing on building in Australia at the moment. But if you want to fly in from overseas to come, we encourage you to do that.
Well, you can do it right now, I think. No mandates.
Yeah, you can actually fly. So, let's just get together and build something. I've forgotten what I was saying, but there you go.
Well, the point is that, like, after that whole conversation, where we pointed out just how impossible Tartaria is in every single way, and how that links to our community having to express and experience and helping each other get through the blocks that bring their impossible dream to light, and how when all of that work is done together with that coherency, then absolutely insane miracles are going to happen. And I really feel like Tartaria needs us to do this. Like, if we want to keep moving this energetic and this consciousness forward, we need to start participating in supporting each other. And, like, I mean it in a really tangible way. Like, I've held personal development workshops before. I've done this sort of like stuff before. So you will be coming into a process. You know, you're going to come into a process. It's going to be a party, yes. It's going to be speeches, yes. But you're coming into a process. And I'm really like, it's a simple, easy process, but you're coming in to experience a transformational process. So, yeah, but like, so now we should end this speech, Campbell, because I've got to go and make that link thing that isn't made yet.
The one that's already down there that everyone's
Well, what do you think, buddy? Didn't that, it's like,
Yeah, exactly right. You know, we'd sort of talked about having a little marketplace and things like this, but I think, you know, this is much better, right? Let's get everyone in a position where they can start to think that, you know, their dreams are achievable, you know, because that's the first bit, right? Just believe it's possible. And then when you've got support, and then people start saying, I can help you with that, and things start happening, then it's like, wow, it's actually happening.
Yep.
And then people start achieving things, and everyone will be like, oh, geez, let me into this. Let's go build the new world. And that's the thing, everything that, you know, that we need, we've got the answers to. And as soon as we just tick off their things, right? Tick off power, tick off cars, tick off, everything that they try and offer us that we don't need and we can give ourselves, we'll just go through it, and then what are they going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't need them, and that's the best way to get rid of them, is you just make them obsolete.
Yeah.
Focus on what we want. So yeah, I'm into it. So there is a link below right now. It's there right now.
It is fucking a miracle, man. So you know what's also really cool is I really think that going through this process really will only have to happen once with each person. Like I feel like once we get you through your main obstacle on your most impossible dream, that'll actually break down a significant part of the spell that you put yourself under. It will actually break down that tug of war, that beating yourself up from the inside sort of thing. I think you just need to experience it once, and then you're living your impossible dream, and then everything after that you'll have something to like, you'll have a pathway there that supports you just thriving and getting more and more and more and more and more engaged with, you know, your personal dream, which will like support everything else. So I really think it's like an event that just has to bang once in your life, bang once in another, you know. So I'm pumped, I'm excited, Campbell.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it, 25th, did you say?
25th of June, which is the last Saturday, Saturday of June. Weeks away. Shit! Weeks away. Is this one of my impossible dreams?
Yeah, well, let's make it happen. So let us know if you're coming so we can get numbers. Click the links below.
All right, so one of my impossible dreams is to bring you all together to have an amazing impossible dream workshop that's going to bring you all to your impossible dream. And my obstacle is time. My obstacle is time. So if anyone out there wants to help with some time, like, awesome.
Yeah. Any Doctor Strangers, Doctor Who's?
We love magical time lords and map makers and magical time lords. All right, Campbell. Well, hey, man, good. Okay. Great to have a chat with you. I think something
was awesome.
Exciting is about to happen in the hood.
It is, guys. So thanks for spending time with us. And yeah, if you want to be part of it, click the link. We're going places. Like, this is just the start, so don't fret if you're in a different state. Leave us a comment, share.
Fly in, man.
Yeah, and let's do it. Let's go and bring in the new world and stop talking about it. And
awesome. All right, my friend. And everyone have the best evening, day, night, whatever time loop you're on. Have an amazing week, and like, let's see you at this event. Hey, like, I'm pumped. I want to meet you all in person. I want to help you, and I want you to help me. Yep, it's awesome. All right.
Love you all.
Love you, everyone. Have the best week.
See ya.